Do I believe what I'm chatting about, and do I think you should? That's the title for today. And I think the answer is sort of and no. Um, so I got a bit of feedback on some of these videos that it sounds a little bit like I'm sort of, when I'm doing these videos, this I'm saying this is true. This all my ideas are the truth, and you should believe them. And that's not really how they're intended, but it is a good point to think about how how we come across in terms of how much weight we put behind what we're saying and what what we're communicating about, what we think the listener should, how we think the listener should respond to what we're saying. So let's phrase this in terms of me again. So I think there's quite a common thing among sort of like a very logical sort of knowledge worker, technical sort of group of people that strong opinions weakly held is the idea. So you, whatever opinions you have them strongly, have them clearly, but be very willing to drop them at any moment. And this is really different to how opinions are held outside of these very logical communities. For example, programmers or engineers or whatever, they tend to have this idea, and there's a great enjoyment of having a big wrangle over what the facts are, what's true, and there's no aggression in it. It's just let's get to the truth. Let's get to what the best solution to the problem is, or whatever. But then I think outside of those problem-solving, fact-based or fact-exploring type of communities, things tend to be a lot more emotive, and things like group membership based on what you believe in seems to be quite a big topic of discussion. So, are you on my side or not? Let's establish whose side we're on. Shall we continue being friends? All of that kind of stuff. And so it's interesting as we move between these different kinds of communities and speaking to different people to adapt how the ideas are put across. So very often I think I'll tend to fall into the problem solving community way of chatting about things, which is here's an idea, I'm just going to throw the idea out there, and it, although it might not sound like it, the idea is that it's up to you whether or not you believe it. And actually, I'm not a great believer in believing in things anyway. In that, actually, just if it works, great. If it doesn't work, it's rubbish. And if you like it, great. And if you don't like it, fine. It's all up to you. But on the other hand, it's good to be aware that some listeners are probably coming from a place of feeling like they are being pressured to believe things all the time. So if they encounter someone who's throwing out ideas in quite a forthright way, like a strong opinion, and they don't realise that it's weakly held because there's no communication that suggests that it is, it's assumed by the speaker that the opinion is weakly held, then these strong opinions can be quite like bludgeoning, because it's like, oh, why are you trying to make me believe all this stuff? And the answer is, well, I'm not, but by accident I am, because I didn't realise how you're listening. So yeah, it's just good to be aware of who the audience is, and if you have no idea if you have no idea who the audience is, for example, on the internet, it's just another thing to be mindful of. I mean, how does this really work in language? I mean, there's lots of different things, but then how do you come across as being? You don't want to come. Sometimes you might want to come across as being very tentative. But you don't want to come across as tentative all the time, because sometimes you need to be like, yeah, I believe this. So, yeah, I guess it's just good to be aware of the spectrum of tentativity and certainty in how we speak. Yeah, and I guess to encourage things that we believe in. So I would encourage people to not believe things unless there's and not to feel like they're not to feel compelled to believe things, and that what you believe in is entirely up to you. And if someone's trying to make you believe something, that's probably not a good sign. So yeah, I think I'm going to be mindful about just how I put my ideas across.